Your engine is probably being destroyed by the oil you thought was protecting it. Over 1 in 10 engine failures come from oils that should have been banned years ago, yet they're still sitting on store shelves. Today, we're exposing the worst engine oils still sold legally, the one labeled high mileage safe, that's quietly wrecking modern engines, and 5 myths even smart drivers believe. Watch till the end for the bonus tip about certified oils and a $3,000 mistake your mechanic won't warn you about. Let's dive in. The oil that's destroying modern engines. Here's what's happening right now in driveways and quick lube shops across the country. People are using 5W30 conventional oil in engines designed for 0W20 synthetic. Seems close, right? Wrong. That small difference in viscosity is the gap between an engine lasting 200,000 miles and one that needs rebuilding at 100,000. Modern engines have tighter tolerances than engines from even 10 years ago. We're talking clearances measured in thousandths of an inch, oil passages the diameter of a pencil lead, and variable valve timing systems that require oil to flow instantly. When you pour in oil that's too thick, it can't reach critical components fast enough during startup. I had a customer bring in a 2019 Honda Accord with only 47,000 miles. Engine was knocking like a diesel. Pulled it apart and found scored cam journals, worn rocker arms, and a timing chain that looked like it had done 200,000 miles. The cause? He'd been using 5W30 because that's what I've always used in Hondas. His manual clearly specified 0W20, but he figured thicker was better protection. The damage cost him $4,200 for a complete top-end rebuild on a car that should have been trouble-free for another 150,000 miles, all because he used oil that was close enough. According to engineering specifications from Honda and Toyota, engines designed for 0W20 have oil passages 30% smaller than engines designed for 5W30. When you force thicker oil through these passages, the flow rate drops by up to 60% during cold starts. That means your engine runs dry for the first 30 to 45 seconds every single time you start it. That's not even the worst part. Wait until you hear what happens when you use the wrong oil in turbocharged engines. Why turbocharged engines are even more vulnerable. Turbos spin at 150,000 to 250,000 RPM. At those speeds, oil isn't just lubricating, it's also cooling and preventing metal-to-metal contact at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees. Use the wrong oil, and your turbo becomes an expensive paperweight in under 50,000 miles. I see this constantly with Ford EcoBoost and GM turbo 4-cylinder engines. Owners use 5W30 or worse, 10W30, in engines that demand 5W20 or 0W20. The oil can't flow fast enough through the tiny turbo oil feed lines. The turbo runs oil-starved, bearings score, and eventually the shaft seizes or the turbine wheel grenades. One customer loaded his Silverado with the 2.7-liter turbo at a budget oil change place. They used 10W30 because it's a truck. It needs heavy-duty oil. 6 months later, his turbo failed catastrophically, sending metal shrapnel through the intake system and into the engine. Total damage, $8,400 for turbo replacement, intake cleaning, and repairing secondary damage. Research from turbocharger manufacturer BorgWarner shows that turbos operating with incorrect oil viscosity experience bearing wear rates 400% higher than those using specified grades. The average turbo operating with oil 1 grade too thick fails at 65,000 miles instead of 150,000. Quick reminder, if this kind of no-nonsense car advice is helping you catch problems before they blow up your wallet, hit that subscribe button now because you're about to find out that it's not just about being too thick. There's another oil mistake that's even more common and twice as destructive: the high-mileage oil trap. High-mileage oils sound like the smart choice for older engines. Extra seal conditioners, more detergents, thicker viscosity. What could go wrong? Turns out, plenty. These formulations are designed for engines with wear, not engines that are just getting old. Here's the problem. High-mileage oils typically run a half-grade thicker than standard formulations. A 5W30 high mileage might actually perform closer to 10W30 in an engine designed for precise 5W30 flow characteristics. This causes the exact same problems we just discussed: restricted flow, inadequate lubrication, accelerated wear. The seal conditioners are another issue. They're designed to swell aged seals that are shrinking and leaking. But if your seals aren't actually failing, the conditioners can cause them to swell beyond specifications, creating new leaks and causing increased friction. I had a Toyota Camry owner switch to high-mileage oil at 80,000 miles because that's what the bottle says to do. Within 5,000 miles, she developed valve cover leaks she'd never had before. The seal conditioners overswelled her perfectly good gaskets, distorting them and creating leaks that required $340 to repair. According to consumer testing by Project Farm, high-mileage oils tested showed viscosity measurements 15 to 25% higher than standard formulations of the same grade, with some samples testing closer to the next higher grade despite label claims. Use high-mileage oil if you're actually experiencing consumption or leaks. If your engine is just old but healthy, stick with standard formulations that match your specifications exactly. Drop a comment. Have you fallen for this one? I bet half of you have high-mileage oil sitting in your garage right now. But there's one oil type that's even more dangerous because it sounds premium: the synthetic blend scam. Synthetic blends are marketed as upgrading from conventional oil without the full synthetic price tag. What they don't tell you is that most blends contain only 10 to 30% synthetic base stock mixed with conventional oil. You're paying 40% more for maybe 15% better protection. Here's where it gets dangerous. People use synthetic blend thinking they're getting synthetic's extended drain intervals. The bottle might say advanced protection or extended performance, so they stretch their changes from 5,000 to 10,000 miles. But that 70% conventional base stock is breaking down at 5,000 miles just like straight conventional. I opened an engine from a Ford F-150 where the owner had been running synthetic blend and changing it every 10,000 miles because that's what synthetic can do. The engine had 140,000 miles and looked like it had 300,000. Sludge everywhere, varnish coating everything, worn bearings, and scored cylinder walls. The oil analysis from his last change told the story. The oil was completely broken down, acidic, and contaminated with metal particles. He'd been running on degraded oil for the last 5,000 miles of every interval, slowly destroying his engine $500 worth of oil changes at a time. Fleet testing data shows synthetic blends maintain viscosity and additive packages for approximately 6,000 to 7,000 miles under normal conditions, nowhere near the 10,000 to 15,000 miles that full synthetic achieves. Using blend on full synthetic intervals causes accelerated wear in 89% of test engines. If you want synthetic benefits, buy full synthetic. If you want to save money, use quality conventional and change it at appropriate intervals. Blend is the worst of both worlds. Higher cost without the benefits you're paying for. Now let me show you the oil mistake that's destroying diesel engines at an alarming rate. Diesel oil in gas engines, a catastrophic mistake. I see this more than you'd think. People using diesel-rated oil in gasoline engines because diesel oil is stronger or it's made for harder use. This is completely backward and will trash your engine faster than almost anything else. Diesel oils contain different additive packages designed for diesel combustion byproducts. They have higher levels of detergents and different anti-wear compounds that aren't formulated for gasoline engines. Most critically, they contain additives that can poison catalytic converters in gas engines. One customer used Rotella T6 diesel oil in his Nissan Altima. because his buddy said, "Diesel oil is the best oil you can buy." After 15,000 miles, his catalytic converters failed. The phosphorus and zinc compounds in the diesel oil had coated the catalyst substrate, rendering it useless. Replacement cost: $1,800 for OEM cats. But the converter damage was just the beginning. The different detergent package caused deposits in his PCV system, eventually leading to pressure buildup that blew out his valve cover gaskets. Another $450 in repairs, all from using the wrong premium oil. According to API certification standards, diesel oils rated CJ4 or higher contain phosphorus levels up to 1,200 parts per million, while gasoline oils, SN or SP rated, are limited to 800 parts per million specifically to prevent catalytic converter poisoning. Using diesel oil in gas engines can destroy converters in as little as 10,000 miles. There's one exception. Old carbureted engines without catalytic converters can use diesel oil without issues. But if your car was built after 1985, using diesel-rated oil is asking for expensive problems. Speaking of expensive problems, let me tell you about the oil that's marketed as racing protection, but actually destroys street engines. Racing oil in daily drivers. Racing oils are formulated for engines that are rebuilt every few thousand miles and run at sustained high RPM. They prioritize extreme pressure protection over longevity, fuel economy, and emissions equipment compatibility. Using them in street cars creates problems you never expected. Racing oils typically lack friction modifiers that modern engines with variable valve timing need. They also contain high levels of zinc and phosphorus that damage catalytic converters. Worst of all, they're often thicker when cold because race engines are pre-warmed before operation. I had a Mustang GT owner using Brad Penn racing oil because it's what the pros use. His variable cam timing started throwing codes within 2,000 miles. The lack of friction modifiers caused the VCT solenoids to stick, eventually requiring replacement. Cost: $890 for parts and labor. Then his catalytic converters failed at 40,000 miles instead of the typical 150,000. Another $1,600 in repairs, all because he used oil designed for engines that run 30 minutes at a time on racetracks, not 30,000 miles on streets. According to AmSoil technical data, racing oils contain ZDDP, zinc dialkyl dithiophosphate, levels of 1,400 to 2,000 parts per million compared to 800 parts per million in street oils. These high levels provide extreme pressure protection for racing, but poison catalytic converters in normal driving. Street engines using racing oil show catalyst efficiency losses of 40 to 60% within 15,000 miles. If you're not running your car at redline for sustained periods or tearing it down for inspection regularly, you have no business using racing oil. Stick with oils that meet current API specifications for street use. And if you want to know exactly how to keep your turbo alive for 200,000 miles, I covered the maintenance secrets most people miss. Click the link above when you're done here. It could save you from an $8,000 turbo replacement. But even using the right category of oil, there's one specification mistake that's more common than all the others combined. The wrong viscosity grade disaster. This is the big one. Using 5W30 when your car needs 0W20. Or 10W40 when it specifies 5W30. People think thicker equals better protection, or they use what their old car needed in their new car. Both approaches destroy modern engines. Viscosity grades exist for specific engineering reasons. Your engine's oil pump, passages, clearances, and timing systems are all designed around a specific grade. Go thicker and you restrict flow. Go thinner and you don't maintain adequate film strength under pressure. I've rebuilt more engines damaged by wrong viscosity than any other oil-related problem. A Chevy Colorado with the 2.8-liter Duramax diesel came in with 68,000 miles, totally destroyed. Owner had been using 15W40 because that's diesel oil. His manual specified 0W20. The thick oil couldn't flow through the high-pressure fuel injection system's oil passages, causing injector and timing problems that cascaded into complete engine failure. Repair cost? $12,000 for a new long block, on a truck with 68,000 miles that should have been just broken in. Engineering data from major automakers shows that using oil 1 grade thicker than specified increases cold start wear by 25 to 40% and reduces fuel economy by 2 to 3%. Using oil 2 grades too thick, like 5W-30 instead of 0W-20, increases wear by 70% and can cause variable valve timing failures within 50,000 miles. Your owner's manual lists the exact viscosity your engine needs. That specification is the result of millions of dollars in engineering and testing. Some random person's opinion about better protection doesn't override that engineering. Want to know which oils I actually trust? For 0W20, Mobil 1, Advanced Fuel Economy, Pennzoil Platinum, or Castrol Edge. For 5W30, Valvoline Advanced or Amsoil Signature Series. These aren't sponsored. These are oils I've seen survive 10,000 plus mile intervals without breaking down. Use what your manual says, period. Now here's what really makes me angry. The shops that keep making these mistakes. Why quick lube shops keep using wrong oil? Quick lube chains buy oil in bulk, usually 5W30 and 5W20 conventional in 55-gallon drums. When your car needs 0W20 or 5W40, they often substitute whatever they have in bulk because it's easier and more profitable than buying the correct specification. I've tested oil from customer vehicles that came from chain shops claiming to have used full synthetic 0W20. Lab analysis showed it was actually 5W30 synthetic blend. The shop charged $80 for premium synthetic, but used $20 worth of blend that wasn't even the right grade. This happens because the technician is being timed on how fast they complete services. Taking time to get the correct oil from storage slows them down, so they grab whatever's in the bulk dispenser and figure close enough. One of my regular customers had been using a quick lube chain for his BMW X3. They'd been putting 5W30 in an engine that requires special BMW long life 0W20. After 50,000 miles of this wrong oil, his Vanos system failed. The repair cost $3,200, and BMW denied warranty coverage because service records showed non-approved oil. Consumer investigative reports have found that 34% of quick lube facilities tested use incorrect oil grades at least occasionally, with 12% substituting different grades more than half the time when the specified grade isn't immediately available. If you use quick lube shops, watch them do the work. Check the bottles they're using. Verify the grade matches your manual. Don't assume they're using what they're charging you for. Let me show you one more oil mistake that's specific to European cars but absolutely critical. European car oil specifications. European manufacturers have their own oil specifications beyond just viscosity. BMW LL01, Mercedes 229.5, VW 502.00, Porsche A40. These aren't suggestions. They're requirements based on engine design, emissions equipment, and service intervals. Using oil that meets viscosity, but not manufacturer specifications, causes problems that won't show up immediately, but will destroy your engine eventually. The additive packages are wrong. The friction characteristics don't match what the engine computer expects. And the oil breaks down faster than the extended European service intervals allow. I had an Audi A4 owner using Mobil 1 5W40 because it's full synthetic and the right weight, but it wasn't VW 502.00 approved. After 25,000 miles on 10,000-mile intervals, his engine developed timing chain noise. The oil's additive package wasn't designed for Audi's extended drains, causing it to break down and allow chain wear. Timing chain replacement, $2,800, all because he saved $5 per oil change using non-approved oil. Technical bulletins from European manufacturers state explicitly that using non-approved oils voids powertrain warranties and can cause premature wear of variable valve timing systems, timing chains, and turbochargers. Approved oils are formulated specifically for long drain intervals and European emissions equipment. If you own a European car, spend the extra money for manufacturer-approved oil. Your engine was designed around those specifications, and substitutes will cause problems no matter how premium they claim to be. Now, here's what to do if you've already been using the wrong oil. Bonus: damage control. If you've already used wrong oil, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. If you've been using incorrect oil, here's exactly what you need to do to minimize damage and get back on track. First, drain that wrong oil immediately. Don't wait until your regular interval. Every mile you drive on incorrect oil adds to internal wear. Get it out of there as soon as possible and replace it with the correct specification. Second, use an engine flush product during the oil change. Products like Liqui-Moly, Engine Flush, or BG Full Power Cleaner help remove deposits and contamination that wrong oil might have created. Follow the directions exactly. Typically, you add it to the old oil, idle for 10 minutes, then drain everything. I had a customer who'd been using 10W30 in an engine that needed 5W20 for about 20,000 miles. We did an immediate oil change with flush, then changed the oil again after just 1,000 miles to flush out any remaining contamination. Oil analysis after the second change showed his engine was recovering. Wear metals were decreasing back toward normal levels. Third, shorten your next interval significantly. Even after switching to correct oil, residual contamination and any wear that occurred needs monitoring. Change your oil at 3,000 miles after switching, regardless of what type you're now using. Fourth, send an oil sample for analysis after that shortened interval. This tells you whether your engine suffered measurable damage or if you caught the problem early enough. The lab report shows wear metals, contamination, and whether another short interval is needed or if you can return to normal service. According to oil analysis data from Blackstone Labs, engines switched from incorrect to correct oil show normalized wear patterns within 5,000 to 7,000 miles if caught early. But engines run more than 50,000 miles on wrong oil show permanent elevation in wear metals, indicating irreversible damage has occurred. Fifth, watch for symptoms during the next few months. Increased oil consumption, new noises, rough idle, or performance changes could indicate damage that's progressing. Catch these early, and you might save your engine with repairs. Ignore them, and you're looking at complete failure. If you've been using wrong oil for more than 50,000 miles, consider having your engine inspected by a mechanic who can bore scope the cylinders and check for wear. The inspection costs $150 to $300, but tells you whether you're looking at imminent failure or if your engine survived the abuse. Finally, document everything. If you plan to keep the car long-term, having records of when you switched oils and subsequent oil analyses creates a baseline for monitoring future engine health. If you're selling, full disclosure about the oil history protects you legally and ethically. The earlier you catch and correct oil mistakes, the less permanent damage occurs. Don't keep running wrong oil hoping it'll be fine. Every mile makes recovery harder and more expensive. Use what your manual specifies. Buy it yourself if you have to. Watch the shop pour it in. Verify the grade on the bottles. This one simple thing, using correct oil, will do more for engine longevity than any additive, treatment, or magic formula ever could. If you learned even one new thing today, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-world car advice that actually matters. There's a video on your screen right now that'll save you even more money and stress under the hood. Click it now on the left, and I'll meet you there.